Today we know that power used for our development labs on main campus is very high. It takes probably 35 to 40% of all the power used at Microsoft, which is enormous considering the amount of physical space that's used by labs on campus is only about 5%. So what we've done over the last couple of years is that we've created a consolidated lab initiative called Managed Lab Services in an effort to reduce the amount of space on campus that's used by those engineering and software development labs. When you think about how much lab space we use on campus, which is about a couple 100,000 square feet, it's much better used as office space where the power delivery and the way we heat and cool those buildings are better suited for people. So the Managed Lab Service, of which Redmond Ridge is our largest consolidated lab facility, allows us to close existing labs on campus, consolidate them to a single location, and now get space, power, cooling, and resource efficiencies.
There's a major focus on responsible energy consumption in pretty much every industry these days. And this is especially true when it comes to Microsoft's view of the data center. Being able to design, build, and operate a facility that uses the environment in which we live in a complementary way by using cooling provided by Mother Nature significantly reduces the environmental impact when compared to traditional facility designs. Our strategy for environmental sustainability at Redmond Ridge was pretty straightforward. Deliver the same amount of services that we deliver in any major facility, but with an expanded capability for resiliency and a minimum consumption of natural resources.
Unlike people, machines don't care where they are. They don't need to be in an expensive real estate. Put machines in a facility that is built just for machines, that's very energy efficient and sits remote to the office building space. Demolition began on November the 3rd, 2008, and the only things left standing of the original building were the 4 tilt-up walls. A computer-generated 3D model of the entire facility and incorporated systems was created before construction began.
The layout in Redmond Ridge utilizes what we call a pod design. All of the server racks are oriented into 2 rows facing opposite from each other. Each pod has an aluminum shell of sorts that surrounds the server racks. There is a slight positive air pressure outside of all of the pods that is offset by the slightly negative pressure inside them. This provides a natural flow of air from front to back within the server racks. A single pod can take the place of many smaller and less efficient lab spaces. Redmond Ridge has 2 server rooms with a total of 48 pods, 24 on one side, 24 on the other. Each pod has 24 individual 52U height server racks. Given that Redmond Ridge is a facility dedicated to servers, the footprint that the pods consumes is the vast majority of the square footage of the building. Another major feature inherent to the design is that all of the pods have their own local PDU and UPS systems. They are also organized into rows of 6 that we call clusters, and each has its own dedicated switchgear panel for electrical distribution as well as a generator. Efficiency is extremely important when it comes to the cost of operating a facility like this. Cooling is a large component of that cost, and it doesn't get too much better than the fact that 95% of the time where we are using free cooling. This is because Mother Nature is providing the cooling effect, and we are drawing in that cool outside air. When it is too cold outside, we can reuse the warm air from the exhaust of the IT equipment to mix with the cold air and produce a consistent temperature throughout the winter months. There are no traditional chillers or air conditioning systems in the environment.
Redmond Ridge's network design begins at the facility's central WAN room, where high-density fiber from each pod terminates and serves as the core for routing traffic between pods. Fiber allows us to significantly reduce the number of network cables run throughout the facility, while ensuring a technology migration path as higher bandwidth network devices become available. Within a pod, every rack contains a compact, high-performance network switch that connects the servers within the rack to aggregation switches and carrier-class routers in the WAN room. There are 2 fiber connections from each in-rack switch back to the WAN room, providing a level of redundancy and doubling the available bandwidth. Redmond Ridge makes extensive use of server virtualization. With virtualization, there can be 10, 20, or more times the number of virtual servers for every physical server. But each virtual server consumes the same amount of network resources as a physical server. So instead of having to design the network to support 60,000 servers, the target ends up being 1.2 million servers. To meet this need, Redmond Ridge was built with high-density, modular network equipment, enabling us to keep up with demand by replacing specific modules as new, more powerful ones become available. A scalable, high-bandwidth, reliable network is an essential foundation for successful infrastructure as a service offering.
This is an amazing facility where we can deploy systems dynamically, as well as evolve the environment to meet the ever-changing demands of the industry we are in. It is a critical factor in designing a facility today that you have the flexibility in supporting the requirements of advanced IT equipment, as well as doing so in an energy-efficient manner. One of the greatest examples of how we support our developers' success is by providing access to common tool sets. We have engineered a single web interface for ticket submissions that is customized to each user, so the experience of submitting a request is not only more intuitive, but is also more accurate. We have here an example of Microsoft's ability to practice good corporate citizenship, as well as excel at our goals to drive the software industry forward far into the 21st century.
Games IT is responsible for the back-end infrastructure for the Xbox first-party games such as Halo, Gears of War, and Forza franchises. One of the main advantages we have seen hosting our servers in Redmond Ridge is the reliability of the infrastructure. With resilient cooling, networks, and backup power, we are able to maintain a high level of uptime for our customers. This allows them to have development arms in all parts of the world. We support game developers in Europe, Japan, Canada, and the US, all of whom are continually working to reduce their time to market.
We're going to continue to expand this service globally so that we can take advantage of the same principles we applied here in Redmond to show the company that we can continue to save money, space, and resources while not impacting our ability to create great products and great services.